Well, hey there, guys. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It's great to be with you on Inspirations for Your Life. Today is June 11th, 2025, and welcome to the show. If you are new here, well, I'd just like to say welcome to you. If you're coming back, well, of course, welcome back. It's great to have you with me as well. Do check out BelieveBeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, of course, inspiring creations, which you can do 24 hours a day. All right, guys, we have an amazing master topic for this week, and that is, folks, how connection, purpose, and peace transform our world. Pretty cool, right? Really, really cool. And so when we think about what that means, that dives us into today's granular topic, personal responsibility in creating a better world, Series 4, Show 24, episode number 5. All right, I guess the best thing to do is dive right in. But before we do, I do want to invite you to head over to the kitchen, get yourself something delicious. Maybe it's hot, maybe it's cold, maybe it's a snack, it could be a piece of fruit, it could be healthy or not. It's totally up to you. And, you know, hopefully you will get something great. And so I know that you guys are probably, interested to know what we're going to talk about tonight. Oh, let's get right in. So, in a world of, let's say, facing complex challenges, the power to create meaningful change doesn't just lie with its leaders or its institutions. It starts from within us, right? Our core, our heart. In today's inspiring episode, we dive very deep into the theme of personal responsibility and explore how every thought, decision, and action we take contributes to the kindness of the world we live in. From owning your own impact to practicing empathy, those 10 powerful principles are your blueprint for becoming a positive force in your community and beyond. Whether you're looking to lead with integrity, drive change locally, or simply it becomes more mindful in your daily life. And this episode is going to guide you toward living with purpose and making a difference, one responsible step at a time. By the way, in case you did not know who I am, allow me to introduce myself. I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. I'm not only a podcast host, I'm also a podcast coach. I'm an engineer, I'm a video producer, and a lot more. And it is my real pleasure to be with you guys here on Inspirations for Your Life, giving you some more amazing knowledge. So I think that's really, really good. And let's get started, all right? So, number one, change starts within, right? True transformation begins in the quietest moments that we have to ourselves. When we learn how to reflect, reevaluate, and commit to becoming better versions of ourselves, it's easy to point fingers at society, politics, or systems. But real change begins when we look deep in the mirror and ask ourselves, hey, what could I do differently today? When you take ownership of your mindset, reactions, and choices, you decide to actually really unlock the potential to influence the world around you by cultivating integrity, kindness, and purpose from the inside out. You set the tone for the kind of world you wish to see. Number two, guys, choices do matter. Yes, everyone, choices do matter. Every decision we make, big or small, creates a ripple effect from what we consume, how we speak to others, to the causes we support. Our choices tell the world what we value. Living responsibly means being intentional and understanding basically the consequences of our action. One thoughtful choice can uplift, empower, and heal. One careless one can harm. When you become more mindful of the power in your choices, you begin to move through the world with greater care and consciousness. And I think that's something that a lot of people miss. They miss that whole point. Hopefully you understand what that is. Does that make sense, everybody? And hopefully that can make sense for you, but it also can make sense to those around you. And I know that a lot of times people don't understand that. They don't understand, like, what this means. And I'm here to tell you that it's about you, it's about your choices. But I realize your choices can sway you sometimes. So we need to learn how to lead by example. The most powerful form of leadership isn't found in speeches. Nope. It's found in daily actions. When you consistently act with honesty, fairness, compassion, integrity, others take notice and say, hey, what's that guy doing? What's that gal doing? Whether you're a parent, a friend, a colleague, or just a complete stranger, your behavior sets a tone and becomes a silent call to others to rise. You don't need a title to lead. You need courage, conviction, and truth. The change you demonstrate inspires to others that anything you demand of them is something they're happy to do because you come off so, let's say, polished and so ready and so convincing, not in a false way, but in a positive, um, integral way. Number 4, own your impact. I can't say this enough to more people. You have to make a choice to own your impact. All right. I'm hoping that means something to everyone. All right. So, what do we mean by that? It's easy to underestimate how much influence you have. But the truth is, your words, your energy, and your actions affect others. Even when you don't realize it, owning your impact means recognizing when you've helped and when you've hurt. It's about being humble enough to admit mistakes and strong enough to make things right. Taking responsibility for the energy you bring into the room transforms you into a conscious, connected human being. And I think that's what a lot of people forget, that we are human. I mean, we do make mistakes, but when we do something with the human spirit, it's like life transforms us, life changes us almost overnight. Number 5, be consistent. Responsibility isn't a one time act, guys, it's a way of life. Being consistent is how you treat others, honor your values, and show up in the world, building trust and, of course, credibility. Inconsistency breeds confusion and doubt, but steady, principled behavior reinforces your integrity. Even when no one is watching, doing the right thing repeatedly will mold you into someone others can count on day in and day out, and someone that you can be proud of. You, right? So I think a lot of people want to do things because they want to get noticed, they want to get on stage. But that's not what makes a leader, okay? It's the quietness. It's the day in and day out. It's the doing the right thing when no one else is watching. Stay informed, guys. Number 6, making responsible decisions requires knowledge. In an age of overwhelming information and rapid change, staying informed is both a challenge and a duty. It's not about knowing everything, but it's about making the effort to understand issues before forming opinions. And I think that's something that a lot of people, they get confused with. They don't realize that can happen. And I'm here to tell you that it can happen if you're living your life with truthful integrity. All right, with truthful integrity. And again, that might sound a little crazy, but I'm giving you the truth. All right. All right. So, let's move on to number 7. All right. Act locally. World change often feels so big, but local change is in ourselves, in our community, in our towns. Um, and it's where your actions are most visible and impactful, whether it's volunteering, supporting local businesses, or advocating for community improvements or causes. Your neighborhood is a powerful place to make a difference. When you invest time and care into the people and places closest to you, the energy spreads outward from the street to the state and eventually the world. Number 8, encourage accountability. I can't stress this enough. Responsibility flourishes when accountability is present. So I want to ask you to please make that choice. Make sure you understand that it is about you. Okay. And sometimes, we get really, I'm going to say, sidetracked by things that are happening. And I think that happens because, we don't necessarily understand why things are going a certain way, right? We don't usually understand that. But I'm here to let you know that it makes a difference, right? All right, number 9, practice empathy. Practice empathy. Empathy is the heart of personal responsibility. When we take time to understand others' feelings, perspectives, and struggles, we begin to make decisions that are considerate and inclusive. Empathy shifts us from being reactive to being responsive. It creates a space where people feel seen, heard, and, of course, valued. Practicing empathy day in and day out regularly can reshape relationships, communities, and systems from inside out. I think when we talk, this kind of goes in tandem with accountability. Again, like I said, responsibility flourishes when accountability is present. I want to say this again. And like I said, whether you hold friends gently accountable or pushing for fairness and leadership, promoting a culture of responsibility leads to integrity-driven environments. Accountability, as I said, isn't about blaming. It's about growth, learning, and the willingness to evolve. Are you willing to evolve? Are you part of the solution or are you part of the problem? I always say if you're not part of the solution, then you are basically the problem. All right. I think that's a very important one. Number 10, guys. Never, 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 never underestimate your role in life. It's easy to think one person can't make a difference, right? I'm just one small person. But that's a myth. Every movement in history started with someone deciding enough is enough. Whether you're influencing one person or a million, your contribution matters. Your presence, your voice, your kindness, they all play a part in shaping a more compassionate, just, and connected world. Never doubt the power you hold when you live with purpose and responsibility. And I know that sounds like, ugh, it sounds like a mouthful. And generally, I don't expect you to do all this overnight, but I do expect you to live a life of integrity. Okay. And so what I want to do is, this is one of my favorite part of the shows, is I basically want to give you some personal stories and lessons from each point today. Okay. And it's my hope that through these points, I'm going to inspire you. I'm going to get you to make changes in your life, not because you have to, but because you want to. And I think that's the whole key in life, right? If we make these decisions and we do it for a reason, then our life is going to change. Our life is going to change and evolve. And people around us will be like, oh my gosh, what did you just do? Right? How did you do that? And I think that's a real important thing. I mean, a really, really important thing. I mean, that's just being the truth. So I come up with some stories I think that will resonate with everyone here. At least one of them will resonate with you. Let me kick it off, right? So when we think about stories, right, and we think about lessons, um, I want to start with change. Okay, it starts within us. I remember a time when I blamed a colleague for a failed project, only to later realize I hadn't communicated expectations clearly. That moment taught me that if I wanted things to improve around me, I had to start with myself. This was many years ago when I first started my business. I began reflecting on how I show up in the world, emotionally, mentally, and professionally. Taking that personal inventory helped me grow, not just in work, but in relationships too. The shift was subtle but powerful. Once I changed the energy around me, well, I changed too. Choices matter, guys. When I was in college, as an undergrad, I'm back in school for my master's and PhD, I chose to support a small environmental group. Instead of joining the more popular organizations, that small choice led to new friendships, awareness, and ultimately a passion for sustainable living. Years later, I still am very uh, keen on using reusable materials and trying to mitigate waste as much as possible. Not because it's a trendy thing to do, but because I learned how my daily choices add up. Every purchase, every conversation, and every habit either contributes to healing the planet or, unfortunately, harming it. Number 3, guys, Lead by example. I once volunteered at a community center where one of the younger volunteers would always leave early and cut corners. Instead of confronting him, I decided to stay late, clean up, and help others quietly and consistently. A few weeks in, that same person started staying after with me. He showed me that leading isn't always about calling people out. It's about calling them in with actions that speak louder than words. So motivate people with the actions you have because they're going to be a lot more impactful than any words you ever could say. Number 4, own your impact. During a podcast interview, which you know I do hundreds, I accidentally mispronounced a guest's name a few times. Now, obviously, I go through this in the pre-chat, but in the very beginning, this happened. After the episode aired, I felt horrible. Rather than brushing it off, I reached out, I apologized sincerely, and re-recorded the intro with the correct pronunciation. It wasn't about saving face. It was about respecting someone's identity. And that experience reminded me how even small oversights can have a big impact, and how owning them can lead to respect and repair. Number 5, be consistent. Years ago, I committed to writing thank you notes after every business meeting. No matter how casual, some people laughed, others were surprised, but over time, it became part of my brand. One client told me, "Your note was the reason I chose you." And it's the flashiest thing I do, but it's consistent. And in a world full of broken promises, consistency speaks volumes. Accountability is way up there too. It builds trust and keeps those doors open so other people know that you're going to do the right thing, even when they're not aware that you are or you're not. Number 6, stay informed. I used to form opinions based on headlines. That was before I was invited into the media over 8 years ago. Until one day I shared an article without reading it, and someone pointed out to me it was misleading. I felt completely embarrassed. But it was a wake-up call. This was about 9 years ago. Since then, I've made a habit to read full articles, checking sources, and staying curious instead of reactive. Being informed doesn't mean being an expert on everything. It means taking responsibility for the knowledge you carry and the knowledge you share. So for those of you that choose to share this show, I'm so grateful for you, and I hope that it resonates with you. And if it does, share it out, because I give you real truth. But don't just take my word for it. Watch the episodes, listen to the audio casts, whatever worked for you, and share it because it's in your heart. Act locally. After moving to a new town several years ago, I joined a local cleanup event. At first, it felt small, just picking up trash at the park. But then I met neighbors, discovered a local nonprofit, and eventually helped organize a food drive. That single event connected me to a whole new purpose. You don't need to go far to make a difference, folks. You really do not. So I think it's important to understand that sometimes the greatest impact is right outside your door. So why not start doing that now? All right, number 8, encourage accountability. On a team project, I once noticed a teammate constantly missing deadlines. Instead of ignoring it, I invited them in for coffee and gently asked what was going on. Turns out they were dealing with something very personal. With a little flexibility and structure, we got things back on track. That moment reminded me that accountability isn't about punishment. It's about opening the doors to communication, empathy, and helping people rise to their best. Because after all, nobody wants to feel bad that they didn't do something. They want to be the best for everybody. So if you can help somebody be the best, guess what? They'll be your friend for life. Number 9, learn how to practice empathy, folks. I had a friend who was always late, and it drove me nuts. One day I kind of responded to him in a little bit of a quick way, only to find out he was caring for a sick relative and didn't want pity. I felt awful at the moment. That moment shifted my perspective from judgment to curiosity. Now I try to assume there's more to everyone's story. Empathy isn't just about being nice. It's about taking time to understand, and that makes the world gentler for everyone. I think that's a very, very important thing that we all need to learn how to do and embrace immediately. Number 10, never underestimate your role. A listener once emailed me saying an episode I almost didn't publish helped them out of a dark place. I was stunned. To me, it was just another episode. but to them it was a lifeline. That moment reminded me that what feels small to us can be monumental to someone else. Every word, every action, every bit of effort you put into the world matters. Don't sell yourself short. You never know who's watching, listening, or healing, all because of you. And I have to tell you something. So we're getting more and more guests, as you know, and we are very selective on who we bring on the show. We have about a 6-month waiting list. But I have to tell you something. People reach out to me more and more saying, hey, John, that show really inspired me. I think this person would be a great guest. And of course, I'm a little bit standoffish when they say it that way because they don't even tell me why they're a good guest. So in order to get on the show, I require a couple things. One, you need to watch the episode of the show, because there's a couple shows that I do, in its entirety. Prepare a brief of some points and a few sentences of why you'd be a good guest, and book a pre-chat with me for 15 or 30 minutes, and I send a link. And I let people know up front, this is not a sales show, okay? I don't sell you anything during this show. This show is about how I can deliver information that hopefully you'll choose to incorporate into your life that'll make you become a better version of yourself. So my show's not always flashy. My show's not always got the latest trends. The tech show does. But this show is just about, what do people need today? What is it people don't need, right? What do I need to do? And I think that's important to know. And so when we talk about these things, guys, it comes down to, what am I doing for myself? What am I doing now? Or what am I doing, like what's happening? And I think that's a very important point, that's going on. And so these are some very, very, important things to hopefully catch your attention. Does that make sense? And so maybe you're wondering, okay? And then again, maybe you're not, okay? But I know it can be hard for some people. Does this make sense to everyone? And so maybe you're wrestling with the fact of, how do I become this? How do I do this? And I don't know about you, but I think that can be very, very hard for many, many people. Like, how do I do these things? And you might be saying to me, John, like, I just don't know how to do them. And I think that's okay if you don't know how to do them, because what you're going to find out is that your life is going to become so much better when you start to learn who you are. That's right. I said who you are in life, not who somebody else is. And you're not doing this to impress anybody. When we take time to get to know who we are, what we stand for, our core values, it allows our why to become really loud to us in a very powerful and I'd say playful way, right? Maybe you're saying to me, John, like, this is not something I'm aware of. Well, maybe you're not aware of it, but I think the most important thing is understanding how you can move to the next level. And moving to the next level, I have found, starts out with you becoming a better version of yourself. But first, you have to get to know you, right? And the way you get to know you is something that is so amazing. All right, really, really amazing. That if you can truly do what you want to do, and you can understand that you're here to basically make your life better, and you're here to make other people's lives better. Okay. I think you might just get the answers you're looking for. Now, I'm not going to tell you that they're going to happen overnight, because they're not going to happen overnight. Let's be very honest about that, shall we? And I think the reason that we want to be honest about it is that when we're truly honest, it's like we're able to make this change that nobody really knew existed, right? I know that sounds great. Hopefully that makes sense. And maybe it won't, right? Um, does that make sense to everyone? Um, I hope you understand like what this all means. Okay. Um, hopefully. Okay. Um, and if it's not, then I think it's got to come down to like why you do something, right? Why? Um, and I think that's a very, very important thing. Um, I think the whole thing really comes down to who are you as a person, right? Who are you as a person? And when we start to understand how we are as a person, it can transform a little bit of why we do things the way we do, right? Why? And that's a hard thing for a lot of people to realize. Like, why did I say this that way? Why did they say that way? Well, it wasn't to get you angry. It was because of a reaction they had to maybe a feeling that they got. And so many people fly off the handle because they think, well, they don't think, they just respond because of a condition they're feeling inside. You say something to somebody and it's not, let's say, very kind, or it's abrupt and you don't know the person, they take it as an attack. So I think we have to be mindful of all these things. And when we are, other people will start to respond to us, guess what? In kind. They'll start to respond to us in kind. And I think that's really a big thing that I can tell you. But I also know that it's not just going to happen overnight, folks. It is going to take you time to figure out like what this actually means. And I know you're probably saying, "Oh, John, this is kind of crazy. This is kind of nuts." But I'm here to tell you that it's not nuts. It is the truth, and it's where we stand. Okay. Um, and so when I say it's where we stand, it's about the fact that you have a choice to make these changes in your life. No one's going to make them for you. All right. Take some accountability, be responsible for things, learn who you are, and connect with the world because you're curious and want to, not because you have to. I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. Do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations, and I'll catch you guys real soon. Okay? Be well and have a fantastic evening.